Even though I killed the ghost, there's still room to debate. It's either Jordan or LeBron who being labeled the great. If you hungry for the smoke, then come and get you a plate. Cause some rock with LBJ and some giving them hate. Haters tune into the show, cause we about to get into it. Jordan is the GOAT. But now it's time to prove it.
All right. We are back again with another sports show. This time we doing the GOAT debate. All right, and I got the two coaches with me. This is the GOAT debate, and we debate tonight, y'all. Last show we covered some sports news, but every Tuesday night at 8:30, we're gonna go over different GOAT topics. It might be LeBron and Jordan. It might be Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. It might be a 73-9 Warriors and a 72-10 Bulls. Who was the greatest? But tonight we going over Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, and we're gonna find out who is the GOAT. According to the GOAT debate platform, who's the GOAT? Hey, listen, if you're following us, if you're not following us, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you vote tonight on who you think presented their case better. They said Coach Scott swapped the flow with Coach J.O. last time, but I don't know, Coach J. Hey, it's been some past episodes, man. This thing go back and forth. They be at each other, man. Sometimes we not even debating. They can't help themselves. But anyway, let's jump right in. Coach Scott, man, what's going on tonight? How you feeling?
What's going on, Coach J.O.? Everything's all good on my end, man.
Coach J.O., how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I got my sword ready. Let's get it.
Okay. All right. Hey, we're gonna pick up right where we left off last time, right? So we left off talking about Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady. And we're gonna start with Coach Scott. Coach, I'm gonna read off a few statistics, and I want you to tell me your thoughts on this because I won't say that. Let me read this. Now, again, as we said it before, Tom Brady has this is going over the 6 years, their first 6 years in the league. And within their first 6 years, Tom Brady had 3 Super Bowls and Pat Mahomes has 2. Brady has 2 Super Bowl MVPs, with Mahomes also having 2. Conference championship appearances, Tom Brady has 3, Mahomes has 5. And conference championship victories, they're tied at 3. Do you think, and why do you think, if you think, Pat Mahomes is the GOAT or becoming the GOAT or will surpass Tom Brady within the next year?
Within the next year, absolutely not. I think Pat Mahomes, again, I want to be crystal clear when I say this. I think Pat Mahomes is, of this era, the most consistent quarterback that we've seen. He gives a little bit of everything. He's beat the best quarterbacks of this time. He's beat the Joe Burrows. He's beat the Josh Allens. He's beat the best quarterbacks of this time. And that's no argument there. He is what we call, of this era, the best quarterback that we've seen. But as we actually look at the statistics, as we actually look at the accomplishments side by side, based off of the first 6 years, hey, it's still Tom Brady. I mean, it's Tom Brady, not just because of the body of work. It's Tom Brady based off of what he was able to accomplish with the team he accomplished with. And those things matter. Like Coach J.O. always says, it's the eye test. Well, I definitely want to deep dive into that a little bit tonight and find out specifically what Coach J.O. looks at when he's kind of classifying what he calls the GOAT. And I also want to look at a couple of things that, based off of what he's saying, where he's saying Pat Mahomes has surpassed Tom Brady. It's a class of quarterbacks that you are really being disrespectful to when you're saying he's passing Tom Brady, if we're calling Tom Brady the GOAT. So, in that tonight, man, I'm definitely, ready to kind of figure out a little bit more of what Coach J.O.'s stance is. And just try and find out a little bit more of what he classifies as the GOAT as it pertains to the position of quarterback. Sure.
Coach J.O., Coach Scott said he don't know what you're talking about, brother. He said to put Pat Mahomes up over Joe Montana. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we see Coach Scott got the Miami Dolphins Cup. I think, if anything, I used to be a big Dan Marino fan, but we got John Elway. What about Peyton Manning? So you think Pat Mahomes is in the conversation or replacing Tom Brady sometime soon as being the GOAT? Please explain. Let us know, because Coach Scott said he got questions for you, brother.
Okay. To all our listeners out here, don't let Coach Scott speak for Coach J.O. Don't let Abadi speak for Coach. Coach J.O. will speak for himself. And I'm going to make this crystal clear. All right. So nobody gets this mistaken. All right. Now, to our listeners, y'all don't have the pleasure of hearing what goes on behind the scenes. Coach Scott said before the show, Coach J.O., I really want to know where you're coming from. You know why he really want to know? Because there's only one person on this panel that's not allergic to objectivity. Okay, let's make this clear. Tom Brady is my favorite quarterback ever, right? But that does not make me put blinders on. That does not make me not see other players and acknowledge their greatness, unlike somebody else. Okay? Now, as I said last show, this is actually a debate that has legs. Unlike that other phony GOAT debate, LeBron versus Michael Jordan, that's the phony GOAT debate. This is a real one. This one has real legs and it's standing. Okay? We talking about the first 6 years. As the body stated, as a starter, Patrick Mahomes has never, let's make this clear, never not appeared in a conference championship game. This is the NFL. It's hard to win. And he has never missed a conference championship game. Okay? Now, it took Tom Brady up until the year 2007 to be a first-team All-Pro. You know how many Patrick Mahomes got already? He's two-time All-Pro, two-time MVP, two-time Super Bowl MVP in 6 years. Okay? Let's make this clear. 6 years. Not including this year. Not including this year where he possibly can win it all. Okay? It's called being objective. Okay? It's called being objective. That's all it's called. All you got to do is look, your eyes tell you, and the stats tell you. Okay? The stats only telling you what your eyes see.
Hold on. You trying out the park already. Hold on. He trying to go. Hey, listen, we got a caller calling in. Give us a few minutes. We're gonna let you know when we open up the phone lines and start taking calls. But we're gonna roll in now. Statistically, bless you. Statistically, all right. We heard both of you guys, and we know why you feel one way and why the other feels the other way. But J.O., I'm going to ask you a question. Then Coach Scott, after I ask J.O., I got to pull it back to you. But you stated something, and this is the second time, right? And I think I asked you about this the first time. We're talking about conference championships. I'm just curious of how that's different when it comes down to LeBron James, as he's played in at least 10, right? He's been in there for like at least 10 years, 9 out of 10 years or 10 years straight. How is it that LeBron James is a phony GOAT debate, but with Patrick Mahomes, it's solidified as a GOAT debate? Give me a quick answer so I can get it to Coach Scott, and then I'll let you guys have it.
All right, you have a 52-man roster versus a 15-man roster. Okay? Football is the ultimate team game. Unlike basketball, where one person can literally have a tremendous impact on the game, Patrick Mahomes can't play free safety. He can't play middle linebacker. That's simple.
So you're saying that just based on the sport itself, it's this the whole nother animal. Okay. Coach Scott, at this time in 6 years, Patrick Mahomes already has 2 league MVPs. Tom Brady has 0. What are your thoughts? Ask your questions to Coach J.O., and let's figure out why he feels like Mahomes is in the talks and you don't, because I'm curious too. I need to hear this.
Well, Coach Yale, here's what I'm saying, and I'm being very objective. I'm being very open to kind of getting a better understanding of what you classify as the GOAT. When I look at a GOAT as it pertains to the quarterback position, I'm talking about win-loss ratio. I'm talking about touchdowns versus interceptions. I'm talking about overall accuracy, being able to throw your guys open, throwing into tough windows, making all the throws, the out, the dig, the curl, the post, the corners. I'm talking about what did they accomplish in the big games? What play did they have in the Super Bowl? Did they just become a manager? Were they just under center, or did they actually win the Super Bowl for their squad? What intangibles did they bring to the game? And overall, you also got to look at what do they have as their current weapons at their disposal. So all of those things to me play a part in my GOAT as a quarterback. We got to realize we have an NFL where Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl ring as an NFL quarterback. Now we know he played with a lights out defense, one of the greatest defenses ever assembled of all time. But he's an NFL quarterback that has a Super Bowl championship. And I personally would just like to know what criteria are you basing Pat Mahomes' greatness of being the GOAT at this point in time? What are you basing that off?
Coach, you got 2 years. Let's listen, okay? 74-22 record in the regular season, 14-3 playoff record, okay? 66% completion rate in the regular season. In the playoffs, 67%. Okay? Regular season, 219 touchdowns to only 62 interceptions. In the playoffs, 37 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Quarterback rating of 103 in the regular season. I know you like that. And it only goes down to 101 in the playoffs. Okay? 6-time Pro Bowl. He's only played 6 years. He's a 6-time Pro Bowl every year. Okay, Coach? Every year. I just read it. 2-time All-Pro, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL passing leader. Coach, everything that I named, your eyes see it. Your eyes see it. When Patrick Mahomes has the ball in his hand, regardless of what team they're playing, you feel like, dog, the other team is about to lose. It just happens. Okay? I'm not even a huge Patrick Mahomes fan. I'm just objective. And I cannot deny what I see. We're seeing the same thing. And you do make a decent point when you talk about the weapons. Okay. Tom Brady in his first 6 years didn't have a Tyreek Hill or a Travis Kelce. But he did have the quote unquote GOAT coach that most people say is the greatest ever, right? I don't say that, but most of y'all say it. So, what we got to say about that?
Coach Scott,
Okay.
And to add on before you respond, first 6 years, Tom Brady, 18,035 yards. Patrick Mahomes, 24,241 yards. Can you touch on that? Why do you think, and I know you say the weapons, but even though Patrick Mahomes did not have the weapons that, or Tom Brady didn't have the weapons that Patrick Mahomes had, he had a system that he was able to utilize smaller name receivers as if they were a Tyreek Hill or.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And I think that's the key that makes you that's what transcends the X's and O's. Those are the things that transcends just the general what we see from a statistical standpoint. We argue all the time who's the greatest running back. Everybody is immediately gonna yell Barry, right? Coach? No? We'll immediately yell Emmett. Yes? No? No?
Wait,
Who would you say, Coach?
Not Barry, Coach? Not Barry Sanders? Not the greatest of all time? Wait. I
No,
can't feel your
No,
forehead through the screen. You serious?
no, no. What's going on? I'm
who's the
missing out.
greatest? Who's your greatest?
Oh, Walter Payton. Easy.
Walter Payton.
I can't
Sweetness.
debate that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's just take sweetness, right? I'm not gonna give you an argument, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say and put it in the place of Pat Mahomes. I'm gonna throw Bo Jackson out there, and then everybody's gonna go, "Oh, wait a minute now. Bo was something to be reckoned with when he played, but he destroyed his hip flexor, and that totally ended his career. And now Bo Jackson is not even in the greatest running back of all time conversation.
That's a great point.
Pat Mahomes, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen after this year of football, or even in the. We don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is if I give Pat Mahomes the same run rate that he has right now, which is a phenomenal run rate. I mean, the kid upside is off the charts. If I give him the same run rate and I get another 6 years out of him, I'm looking at 56,848 passing yards. I'm looking at 438 touchdowns and 126 interceptions, which still keeps you at your 103% on your QBR, right? But let's look at some of the people you are actually saying he's going to usurp in the GOAT conversation. He's going to usurp Aaron Rodgers, where he still hasn't passed more touchdowns and he would not have passed for more yards. He would usurp a Peyton Manning, where he would be nowhere near the amount of yards or touchdowns, and interception ratio wouldn't even be close. He would usurp a Dan Marino, who he still would not even be close in passing yards, and the guy hasn't thrown a football in over 25 years. He still wouldn't be close to a Tom Brady in passing yards, who's at 89,000 yards, and he got beat twice head to head with against Pat Mahomes. So those are the things where I say it might be a little premature to give him the GOAT title. I think he's a definite formidable GOAT conversation, top 10 quarterback for sure. But he's usurping a lot of great quarterbacks. You're talking about the Breezes. You're talking about both Mannings. You're talking about Brett Favre. You're talking about Matt Ryan, Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, Kurt Warner. You're talking about a lot of great talent that has sat up under a center and navigated some of the most intricate offenses of our time. And for you to say in 6 years that Pat Mahomes has usurped those guys, those names, those teams, that's a lot to me.
Coach J.O., Coach Scott, he makes a great point. I mean, this guy, Tom Brady, I mean, if you just watch him play, man, he did a lot. And I know we're just talking about their first 6 years. Mahomes is doing a lot,
Absolutely.
but the names that Coach Scott just put out there, it is hard to say that Mahomes is going to pass those names. Those are some great names. You got Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning. The list just goes on and on and on. Please respond to those names. What are your thoughts about Patrick Mahomes passing those names?
I think Coach Scott is suffering from what I would call the curse of familiarity. Okay? Listen, I understand in your childhood, you saw the Troy Aikmans, you saw the John Elways, the Brett Favre. That's what you're used to. Some of our fondest memories in life come from when we were teenagers, in our adolescence. We even remember more stuff back then than we did in our 20s and 30s. Okay? So I get it. We're in love with what we know. Okay? We're in love with what we grew to love. It's just what it is. Okay? Let me give you an example, right? And I know this may be a controversial statement as well. Tupac, we all know, most consider him, if not the best, definitely a top 3, whatever, rapper ever. But we all know Lil Wayne, when it comes bar for bar, he's just better. He just is. Okay? Now, I get it. Tupac, revolutionary, everybody love him, all of this, all of that. It just is what it is, right? He's the first to do what he did. I get it. The same with Tom Brady. We saw it. Okay, we saw this skinny kid from Michigan that was a no name and did his thing and grew to be what we know now as some people call the greatest ever. We know that, but I'm sorry, it's somebody that can rival him. It's somebody that really can rival him, and we're witnessing it. I know we don't want to accept it, but it is what it is. This isn't a phony GOAT debate. This isn't phony. This isn't the Michael Jordan, LeBron phony GOAT debate. This isn't. This has real legs and it's standing strong. Patrick Mahomes don't have holes. He doesn't have a Swiss cheese career. He doesn't have a Swiss cheese game. You can't poke holes in his game. You can't do that. What can't he do as a quarterback?
I mean, he has a point. You guys are both making great points. I want to read a comment from the comment section. It states that we know in the 70s and 80s and 90s, defenses was allowed to beat up quarterbacks. You had to go up through beating back then. Nowadays, you are allowed to scramble and not be touched. In your response, Coach Scott, what are your thoughts on that comment as well? I mean, Coach J.O., he's making some pretty strong arguments. Can't debate. But what are your responses to Coach J.O. and to the comment that I just read?
First to Coach J.O., I think that he makes great points. I don't suffer at all from familiarity. I think that the shiny new toy is always the most attractive, right?
Yeah,
and exactly. I'm a defensive player, and when I look at it, and I played corner my whole entire life, so when I look at a quarterback, I'm looking at things that are going to impose fear in your defense. I'm going to look at things that are going to stress your defense, and I'm going to look at your overall play. I'm going to look at your accuracy. I'm going to look at your timing. I'm going to look at your feet work, and I'm going to look at the things that are what we call the intangibles. How can you will your team to win? What are the things that you do just to will your team to win? And I think Pat Mahomes is doing the things that he needs to do to be considered in a top 10, top 15 conversation. I'm not taking that from him. But when you look at the ones, the greats, the people who have done it year over year, and they've ended their career, and their passer ratings are what this man's passer rating are near this guy's passer rating at the end of their career. And they played in, to the person in the comment section's point, they played in a more difficult era of football. This is 7-on-7 with pads right now. It's 7-on-7 with pads.
Coach Scott, so are you telling me that you would not put Patrick Mahomes in the top 5 with quarterbacks? And if you are saying that, are you saying that based solely on the reason that his career is not over? So let's say he has a career-ending injury right now. Where would he fall in your top 10?
In my top 10, I'm going to name the top 10 quarterbacks as I see them, and as the general populace sees them. As if you Google today, they have Tom Brady as number 1. They have Peyton Manning as number 2. They have Drew Brees. They have Brett Favre. They have Ben Roethlisberger. That gentleman needs to be out of there. I would transfer Ben Roethlisberger for Joe Montana. I look at Phillip Rivers. He doesn't need to be in there. I would transfer him for Kurt Warner. They have Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan doesn't need to be in there. He needs to be transferred out for Steve Young. You have Dan Marino. You have Aaron Rodgers, and you have Eli Manning. I could honestly say I would take Eli Manning out and put a Jim Kelly in, because even though he went to 4 Super Bowls and lost, he accomplished so much. It's so difficult to go to 4 straight Super Bowls. People don't even grasp that concept. But if I had to move anybody to put Pat Mahomes in the top 10 out of that list, I would say Eli Manning would have to be the one I would take out and put Pat Mahomes at 10. Outside of that, that's the best I can do. because everybody else that is on that list, you're talking about a Joe Montana who played in 4 Super Bowls, who has 4 Super Bowl rings, who threw over 15 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. He has willed his team to win Super Bowls 4 times in a row and played the part.
Coach JL, man, you know, me myself, if you was to ask me who was my quarterback, it was Montana. It's hard. It was hard for me to put Brady over Montana, and the reason being is because I always felt like Brady was a system quarterback, and I felt like if he had not been in New England and he was not with Belichick, then he couldn't do the same thing in another system. I was proven wrong. He went to Tampa Bay and did the same thing, and then I found out no, it wasn't Belichick carrying Brady; it was Brady carrying Belichick. With that being said, the list of quarterbacks that Coach Scott ran down, knowing that list, and we're going to make Brady 1, 2, depending on the conversation, who you're having it with, where would you place Mahomes in that list of all of those all-time great names? And I agree with Coach Scott. Some of them should be swapped out, but I mean, you got Joe Montana there, man. That's hard to do.
Patrick Mahomes right now is suffering because he was born in the 90s and not in the 70s. He's suffering right now. That's not his fault. Okay? Coach Scott, let's just be real. You're a baller. Okay? You know a baller when you see one. So we can talk about the eras that he played in, right? Those are fair points that needs to be brought out. But you know a baller when you see one. All great players can transcend eras.
Absolutely.
All right. Even in the phony GOAT debate, right? Where people talk about, LeBron couldn't play in the 90s or the 80s or whatever. Any great player could play in any era. Now, will they be as good? No. Or yes, who knows? But we can see this thing, man, in Patrick Mahomes. He like, what is his flaw? That's the question that I would have. Like, does he have a flaw in his game?
That's a great
Name a
question.
flaw in Tom Brady's game. I can name a flaw in Joe Montana, in Peyton Manning, in Brett Favre. He doesn't have a flaw.
What are those flaws, Coach JL? What are those flaws?
In Tom Brady's game?
Yeah, and all the quarterbacks you just named.
His lack of quickness, lack of speed, that goes for both Tom Brady and Joe Montana and Peyton Manning and Brett Favre. He's just like Pat Mahomes as a gunslinger, but Patrick Mahomes is actually a smart gunslinger. He's not a careless gunslinger the way that Brett Favre was. Okay, so
I can agree with you on the Brett Favre.
Machine.
Brett Favre is. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. I'm on board with you 1,000,000%. If you ask me, Mahomes or Brett Favre, it's Mahomes all day for me. But go ahead and continue.
And let me add this as well. And this is why I say, Coach, the eyes, man. We cannot take that element away. Okay, because those names that you're named, you could name several other quarterbacks I would rather have over those guys. It's not all about numbers for me. It's just that the numbers got to match what my eyes see. Okay, I'm gonna bring this name up to you. I'm gonna bring 2 names up: Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb. You mean to tell me that if it comes down to it, who you want to lead your team? Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, or Eli Manning? Come on, let's just be real. I'm taking Donovan McNabb. I'm taking Michael Vick. I would take Michael Vick over a lot of those guys that you named. I would. He wasn't in the position of a Tom Brady. He wasn't in the position of even a Patrick Mahomes, but we saw what he could do. So we can't eliminate that element of what we see. We see it. I don't think anything is stronger than that.
Coach Scott, before you respond, let me say this real quick before you respond. All right, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines. I see there was a few calls that came in earlier. We're going to open the phone lines. If you want to call in now, you can call in. You have 60 seconds to tell us who you think the GOAT would be out of these two and why? And then the coaches will respond to you accordingly. But go ahead, Coach Scott.
No, I think you make a great point. Again, it goes back to what I was saying. One of the things that fundamentally is going to determine a game is how much pressure an offense can apply to a defense. How much pressure can you apply on a play-to-play sequence, right? And Pat Mahomes, you're right. He has very few flaws in his game. He knows when to run. He has, he has some of the most incredible incompletion passes I've ever seen. I can tell you that right now. But it's something about Tom Brady that just he wills his team to win. He knows how to will his team to win. He knows when to run. He's not a runner. You're right. He's super slow, but he knows how to will his team to win. Peyton Manning could never run, but he knew how to will his team to win. His football IQ was just so far off the charts. It made him a better player. It made him so much better than other players. It didn't even matter that he couldn't run. You're talking about a Dan Marino who had the quickest. Do you understand in today's football game, Dan Marino with his quick release, he would get a penalty every 2 throws, every 2 to 3 throws. Every series, it would be literally a late hit on the quarterback just based off of his quick release. There are certain intangibles that these greats that we're saying Pat Mahomes would usurp in just the overall ability to say he's a great. I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
No, you don't want to do it.
What's that?
You don't want to do it.
Oh, because that would be foolish. That would be foolish. Hey, look. You always talk about the eye test, and Coach, look, you got 2 more than me. You right? And I'm gonna agree with you on this far. Based off of what I've seen, Pat Mahomes in his era right now, he's doing everything he's supposed to do. But when you look at his run rate and when you look at the greats who have already done it, they've hung their cleats up. They're no longer playing the game. The kid's stats right now at 6 years are phenomenal. They're off the charts. They're video game stats. But when you give him another 6 years with the same video game stats, they're not even close to the greats. They're not close. So how can I legitimately say in 12 years of this guy's career that is currently off the charts, how can I honestly say he's better than a Breeze? He's better than a Brady. He's better than a Marino. He's better than a Manning. He's better than a Montana. He's better than a Warner. He's better than you're actually saying he's better than a Warren Moon, and they don't even have all of Warren Moon's statistics because he played several years in the CFL. It's absurd. It's absurd. And I think you just need to take a step back and be a little bit more subjective about the argument as a whole. Joe Burrow, in my opinion, is going to catch Pat Mahomes.
Listen, this is the thing. I'm not even a Patrick Mahomes fan. This is the thing. This is how much objectivity I have. I'm a Josh Allen guy. Okay? But I'm more so, I want Josh Allen to be better than Pat Mahomes. But when I watch it, I'm sorry. It's just not there. He's not. I want him to be. And I think that that's what we're missing right now. I think that you don't want him to be with those greats. You don't want him because you feel like he hasn't deserved it or he hasn't put in enough time. But deep down,
Can I ask you one subjective question? Just one subjective question. Based off of everything based off everything you've talked about, everything we've heard, let's just say Lamar beats Pat Mahomes head to head. They get the go-ahead touchdown. They tie the game. Baltimore's playing at home. Anything could happen. It was a bad referees or whatever. But anything can happen. They kick a field goal. They win the game. Are we talking about Pat Mahomes in the GOAT conversation right now, or are we talking about Lamar Jackson right now?
I mean, again, that's what we want it to happen. We wanted Lamar.
Right. But what my question was is, are we talking about Pat Mahomes or are we talking about Lamar Jackson right now?
We would be talking about Lamar because he's in the Super Bowl, but that's not going to
Right.
take away. But it's not going to take away from what we have saw from Patrick Mahomes. It's not going to take away from that. We see it.
Who's the
Like
best quarterback this year? Who's the best quarterback this year? In the NFL, who's the best quarterback this year?
it depends on how you judge the quarterback.
I'm just talking about quarterbacks. I told you I judge quarterbacks based off of win losses, touchdowns, accuracy, major wins, accomplishments on and off the field, just total accomplishments, who they have in their stable as far as their weapons, and what do they do in big games.
Well, Coach Scott, give your best quarterback, and Coach J.O., return to his who he has the best. Then tell us who do you think
best quarterback this year, hands down, Lamar Jackson, MVP of the league, hands down.
Okay, that's a fair point, right? But the way that we got, but let me ask you this: if you was the offensive coordinator or the head coach right now for a Super Bowl team, regardless of who it is, would you want Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes? Right now.
If I'm about to play for the Super Bowl,
Yes, sir.
I'm taking Pat Mahomes. He's been there. He's been there.
I mean, why? Why, other than he's been there, why would you take Pat Mahomes?
That's the only reason I'm taking him. He's been there. That's the only reason I'm taking him.
He's better.
Well, Coach,
listen,
I
listen.
was with you until you said that, because now it's just like you just proved J.O.'s point the whole time. Coach J.O.'s that's what he's been saying.
I don't feel I proved his point at all. Here's why. Here's why. When you look at the body of work Lamar's put in, who's going to put the most pressure on a defense play over play over play? And it's gonna be a Lamar Jackson. It's gonna be a Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Coach J.O. even said it. He'll take Michael Vick. He'll take Michael Vick over Pat Mahomes because of the pressure they'll apply to a defense.
See, I did say that. Okay, I did not say that. For the record, we got some people who feel like Lamar Jackson is on Michael Vick's level based upon MVPs and this. He's not Michael Vick. He's not a Michael Vick. He's not that.
He's better.
No, he's not.
He's not better than Michael Vick?
No, he's not.
Yikes.
Okay, and that's another subject for another day, right? That's another subject for another day. He's not. But again, you say who put the most pressure on the defense? Again, we want that to be Lamar. We want that to be Lamar, but it's not. Patrick Mahomes scares the crap out of defensive coordinators, man. He just do.
Tom Brady doesn't?
Of course he does. Of course he does.
So let me ask you this. Head to head. He's beat your favorite quarterback twice. Does that matter?
Who's my favorite quarterback?
Josh Allen. You said Josh Allen.
Okay, yeah. That matters.
That matters, right?
Right.
Tom Brady has beat this kid twice, head to head. Head to head. That has to matter. That has to. It just has to matter.
But
if that matters, and we have Tom Brady as, let's just say, arguably one or two, it's a pecking order to get to Tom Brady. And to get to him, Pat Mahomes is not better than a Dan Marino, a Drew Brees, a Peyton Manning, or Joe Montana. No, he's not.
Again, this is not a phony GOAT debate. This is a real GOAT debate right here. Okay. Now, those other names that you're stating, I'm sorry. If you asking me Pat Mahomes or Peyton Manning, all right, flip a coin. Give me the other one. It's really like that. I'm not putting those guys over Patrick Mahomes. I'm just not. I'm not gonna do that. If anything, I'm gonna flip a coin. But I'm not putting those guys over there. Patrick Mahomes, he is kicked down the door. And he's
Wow.
standing right next to Tom Brady. He's standing next to him. He just is. Okay. Now, Tom Brady has solidified himself throughout his career in what we would call the greats. But we're talking about Patrick Mahomes in 6 years. Tom Brady in his first 6 years as a starter. It's not close. It's not.
Statistically, it's not. No, you're right. You're
What's your
absolutely
odds tell
right.
you it ain't close either?
So
I'm sorry?
really
Odds tell
quick,
you
really
that.
quick, really quick. Hey, listen. The phone number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I'm seeing a lot of chats coming through at the bottom of the screen. Everybody has an opinion. Call in, and share your thoughts with the platform, and have a
Please.
conversation with the coaches and see, how you fare in the GOAT debate. But go ahead. I'm gonna fall back out.
You go ahead, Coach.
No, I again, Coach. I'm not arguing against you as it pertains to this kid's first 6 years. And I mean, I'm calling him kid. And I no disrespect. I mean, Pat Mahomes is a man that has earned his right to be considered one of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game with his body of work for these first 6 years, 100%. But as it pertains to where we want to put him, and where he's earned to be, I just, it's a pecking order that he has to go through to get to Brady. And right now, I don't think he's done that. Go ahead, Abaya.
Let's get this caller in. We got someone on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Marcus Lucey.
All right. You got 60
What's up,
seconds.
Marcus?
Tell us, who do you have in the GOAT debate and why?
Okay. As far as, so we talking about the first 6 years, I got to go with Patrick Mahomes. And the reason why I say Patrick Mahomes is because his impact on the game is just immaculate. Like I've never
Marcus,
seen a quarterback.
Marcus,
with
hold on
that
1 second.
impact.
Turn the show down in the background. There's an echo coming through.
Okay, I did.
All right, go ahead. I pause your time. Ready, go.
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes, I say it's Patrick Mahomes because of his impact and what he's done to defenses. He's literally shredded number one defenses every single year. He has more yards than Tom Brady. Even though Tom Brady is the GOAT, I think as far as the first 6 years, I think that's what the man really getting over his head. He talking about the totality of work. We're talking about the first 6 years. It's not close. Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback than Tom Brady.
All right.
Marcus,
So you got
can I ask you a
20
question?
seconds. Go ahead, Coach.
Marcus, Marcus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, thank you for calling in, man. Hey, real quick question. Who was the best quarterback in the Super Bowl last year?
The best quarterback in the Super Bowl last year?
Last year.
Pat Mahomes.
Marcus, have a great evening.
Oh, wow. I
Oh,
mean, you said Pat
wow.
Mahomes. I mean,
Marcus, I thought you was going to be all right, man.
Marcus, you say Pat Mahomes was great. Why was he the best quarterback in the Super Bowl last year?
The reason why I said he was the best quarterback is because he had his everybody really was against him, and he just proved everybody wrong.
I mean, I get you rooting for the underdog. You're rooting for the underdog. You sound like Coach J.O. J.O. said he roots for the underdog as well, Coach, J.O., you feel like Mahomes was the best quarterback last year?
I feel like he showed that he was the best.
You showed it?
That's what he did. Yeah, he eventually he showed that.
Okay.
He did. Okay. At the end of the day, unlike Hurts, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't literally drop a ball with nobody touching him and give up a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes would not do that. That alone, that one play alone says Patrick Mahomes was the best quarterback in that Super Bowl.
Okay.
That one play alone. And coach, you will have to agree with me. You got to agree with me. Jalen Hurts, he lost so many points. He can't make up for that
Well,
unless you win.
Coach Scott, do you agree? Was Patrick Mahomes the best
No.
quarterback in the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay, why wasn't he the best quarterback in the Super Bowl? Why not?
He was, listen, from play one to the last play of the game, he was outplayed. He literally was outplayed. If the NFL was true to form and they gave the MVP to the losing team, there would be a Jalen Hurts Super Bowl loss, Jalen Hurts MVP trophy win. And you know that. You gotta be on, you gotta be honest. You gotta be honest when you look. I understand you're being subjective, but in subjectivity, you gotta be honest. He got outplayed in every facet of the game, in throwing, in running, in game management. He got out. Jalen Hurts lost the game because they got out coached.
Oh,
Well.
but he didn't lose the game because he literally dropped a ball out of his hand and no one touched it. And he gave up a touchdown.
No, they didn't lose the game because of that. I can say that. I can say that clean. No, they didn't. They didn't lose the game because of that.
Okay, if you say so. This is the thing, though, coach. This is the thing that you got to get through your head. Patrick Mahomes right now is so far and beyond the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th quarterback. It makes no sense. It's not even close. There's literally only a handful of guys in the NFL, not even a handful. You can count on one hand can even be considered with Patrick Mahomes. When Tom Brady was doing this, even at his highest, you had your Drew Breeses, your Peyton Mannings, your Brett Favres, your Big Bens, your Russell Wilsons. Okay. Now you can say, well, there's not many great quarterbacks right now. You can say that.
I wouldn't be telling the truth. It's this quarterback era that's playing quick, right Coach now.
Scott, you're right about that. Before you get in there, we got a caller on. This is Gary Murray. I know exactly who this is. He calls himself the Butcher for whatever reason. The Butcher. Gary, what you got going on, man? I didn't even have to ask you this
man. The Butcher is here. Are they ready?
I don't know. Listen,
what's going on,
I'm about
Butcher?
to start this is the Butcher, y'all. He said he the Butcher. So I'm about to start his clock. You got 60 seconds to tell us, out of these two players, Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, who would you give the GOAT title to and why? Your time starts now.
Tom Brady is the GOAT, and it's not even close. You got to look at it. He wasn't drafted in the first round. He was drafted in the 6th round. Came in and did something that he wasn't even supposed to even play. He had to play against the hardest defenses, the toughest ones. You had the Ravens, Ray Lewis. He had to play against them for years. If you look at the teams nowadays, defenses are not A1 like they was back then. You had the Ravens, you had the Steelers. They always had a top 5 D. He had to go through them all the time. And then just to put the nail on it, he got 7 rings, but he said, look here, I'm going to show you that it's not the coach, it's me. And he left New England and he went to Tampa and won in his first year.
That's the 60 seconds.
It's all me.
That's the 60 seconds, but I can't lie. Hey, Gary brought out, he sounded like the butcher tonight. Gotta get that was he made some good points. Coach. Tom Brady was drafted in very late, and in front of him was Drew Bledsoe. And I remember Drew
Yes.
Bledsoe in the interview saying that I can't get hurt. I knew if I went down that I was not going to get my job back, and that's exactly what happened to Bledsoe. He had to leave New England and he went over to Dallas, and he did not get his job back. So Tom Brady did step in there. He did something really incredible. That's a major point. What are your thoughts, Coach Jo?
Hey, to the butcher, let me cut you off for a second. All right. I don't know whether you're still on the line, so I'll let Coach Scott answer this
No, he
question for
disconnected.
you. Okay. In their first 6 years, has Patrick Mahomes ever first 6 years as a starter, has he ever missed the playoffs?
No.
Has Tom Brady missed the
No,
playoffs
Patrick
in
Mahomes.
his first?
Patrick Mahomes. In the first 6 years as a
Oh,
starter.
no, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. No, sir.
Has he ever failed to make it to a conference championship?
No, sir.
Okay. In Tom Brady's first 6 years, did he miss the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay. In his first 6 years, did he make it to the conference championship every year? Even outside of that year, he missed the playoffs. Did he make it?
Well, if
Conference
he didn't make,
championship every year?
if he didn't make it to the playoffs, he didn't.
No, I'm saying outside of that year.
Oh, no.
Okay. That alone should tell you something. That alone should tell you. Like, that alone ends it.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask you two just refraining questions? You asked me 4, but I'm gonna ask you 2.
And Coach Scott, after you ask the questions, and Coach Jo, after you answer, we got another caller on the line.
We can take the call. I'll do
Sure.
that.
All right. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Jamal Davidson calling from Americus, Georgia.
America's Georgia.
Jamal. You said Jamal.
Jamal, I heard Jamal. Jamal. All
Sorry,
right,
Jamal.
Jamal. All right, you got 60 seconds, Jamal. We're going to give you 60 seconds, and you tell us, out of these 2 players, Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, who would you give the GOAT title to and why? Your time starts now.
Tom Brady. Simply because Tom Brady played against legendary defenses, right? The Baltimore Ravens, the Buccaneers, the Legion of Boom, the Bears when Urlacher was there. You're talking about defenses that Patrick Mahomes has never seen. Football right now is so different. You really can't compare the two. Tom Brady had a lot more going against him. He beat the best show on turf when Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner and all those guys were together. You're talking about playing against teams like that. And defenses that were legendary at that time. Like right now, in this time period, name a legendary defense that you can actually think of. He ain't playing against Palomalus and Ed Reeves and Randy Lewis and Patrick Willis. He ain't playing against people like that. And Tom Brady beat them all. He beat them all.
That's true. And that is the 60 seconds.
I can't give him that.
I got you. That's the 60 seconds. All right. That's your 60 seconds. You made some fantastic points. I might have to put an asterisk next to the St. Louis Super Bowl. I don't know about that one, but he played against some. Yeah, right. You played against some major defensive fronts, man. So I gotta say, let me give it to the coaches, and we'll start with Coach Scott, and then we go to Coach Jo. And like, what's your response to Jamal's statement about the defenses that Tom Brady played against?
Hey, Jamal, thank you for calling in. Hey, look, I know I don't know you. I've never been where you from, but I'm talking about you literally took my question off the paper. I was going to ask Coach Jo, has Pat Mahomes ever played against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense? Has he? I'm talking about a bona fide moniker, just destructive Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The terrible towel, the Ravens defense, the Miami Dolphin defense, the Jet defense. These are all teams in the conference now. Buffalo's defense, the Seattle Seahawks defense, the Indianapolis Colts defense. I mean, we talking about just looking at it. We're talking about 7, 8 Hall of Famers just off of those defenses alone.
Whew. JL, Coach JL, what's your thoughts?
Hey, Jamal, appreciate you calling in, man. That's actually my good brother, man. We actually coach together. Okay. So check this out. Again, Jamal, you know this. Just
Wait.
like
That's your
Coach
brother. You
Scott.
coach together? He just did this with a knife.
Oh, yeah, that's my brother. Yeah, that's my brother. And shout out to AME, man. American Georgia. All right. Abai, you know this. Coach Scott knows this. Jamal knows this. All right. We can say all of what he said. He didn't play against Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, Troy Polamalu. Hey, I brought that point out last weekend.
You did.
All of that is true. But again,
What?
we cannot take away the element of us understanding and knowing a real baller, a real football player. When we see one, we see it. We see this. And I understand it, y'all. It's so hard to put this guy on this level of why he's playing. We basically building a statue while he's playing right now. I get it. No one has ever had these accolades. No one has ever been in this position that Patrick Mahomes is in right now. But at the end of the day, this thing is real. He's doing it.
Wait, Coach JL. There is one player who has been in this position. That's LeBron James. Listen, I'm just a moderator. I'm just being honest. I'm a Michael Jordan guy. I'm just gonna be honest. But LeBron James, we call it the fake GOAT debate. I need the temperature gauge. I see it going again. It's going. But he has been in this position. In the same position that Pat Mahomes is in, we have to give LeBron James that same credit that we're giving to Pat Mahomes. That's my thought. I know this is not a LeBron and Jordan debate. We'll get to that. That was actually coming up, but I just want to throw that out there really quickly. Jamal, hey, appreciate you calling in, man. We're gonna get another caller. We got another caller calling in and get him on the phone, but we appreciate you and your input. You there, Jamal? I think Jamal. It is a little late. Jamal might have dozed off, and I know how that go. I get sleepy sometimes too. You know, we started at 8:30. Listen, we have just hit the 1 hour mark. I have put the poll inside of the chat, and we want, if you're watching, please vote. Now, how this works is when you vote, the winner of each time we have a GOAT debate, and they're not here yet, but they're on the way, get to hoist the championship belt. All right. They should be here by next show. So whoever wins, he won't hoist it tonight, but next week he'll be able to hoist his championship belt, his crown, as the victor of the debate between the Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, who is the GOAT in this episode. We have hit the 1 hour mark. The caller that we had calling in, I think he disconnected, unfortunately. So with that being said, we have reached the end, and it's the polls are going back and forth right now. They're like this. They're but Coach Scott's up. He's up. Right now, as we end the show, the winner of the GOAT debate this week will be Coach Scott. He has 75% of the votes. Coach JO, typically, I'll be there with you. But I can't give it to Mahomes just yet over Tom Brady. Should he be in the talks? Because he's doing some phenomenal things early in his career. There are a lot of great quarterbacks. I mean, again, my guy was Joe Montana. I can't put Peyton Manning aside. I mean, I gotta look at Dan Marino. Oh my God, John Elway. There are a lot of major names that I saw play, and it was like, wow. You know, even Troy Aikman. You know, I know he had like a crazy team, but Troy Aikman, man, I seen a man throw a deep ball one time. It was just perfect, the most perfect in stride deep ball I ever seen to who was it, Alvin Williams. It was crazy. So, you know, Coach Jo, next time, Coach. So I'm gonna give you guys last words. I'm gonna let you go, Jo, before we get out of here. And Coach Scott, since you are the GOAT debate champion this Tuesday night, I'll give you the last word and we'll get out of here. Coach Jo, what are your final thoughts?
Hey, it was good battling with you, Coach Scott. You know, to the listeners, I understand, just like my co-host, y'all are allergic to objectivity too. I get it. It is what it is. All right. I still love you. Thank y'all for tuning in. Next week, come on back, chop it up with the coach.
All right. Coach Scott, it's on you. Any last words?
Absolutely, man. Always a pleasure, Coach J.O. Definitely much love. Abaya, great job hosting and moderating. To everyone out there, thank you guys for tuning in. Click, subscribe, like. We definitely enjoyed having you guys come in, and the callers were great. And just keep supporting.
Definitely. This is our first GOAT debate on YouTube. If you have not been following us, we are on Spotify. So go on Spotify, listen to the past episodes. We're here now, and we're going to be dropping episodes every week. Every Monday at noon, we are uploading, and every Tuesday night at 8:30, we are doing the GOAT debates. You guys can call in and participate. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on all social media. We will also be going live on Facebook as well. With that being said, we are out.